Behold, the tablet box of copper. Release the clasps of bronze. Take out the tablets of lapis lazuli and hear the tale of Gilgamesh. All that he endured.
ملحمة جلجامش هي ملحمة سومرية مكتوبة بخط مسماري على 12 لوحا طينيا، كتبت قبل أكثر من 3000 سنة. كان جلجامش ملك أوروك، والدته آلهة خالدة ووالده بشرا فانيا، ويسبب الجزء الفاني منه يبدأ بإدراك الحقيقة أنه لن يكون خالدا. كان جلجامش قاسي، شخصيته قوية، وكان يدفع كبار السن إلى العمل حتى الموت ببناء أسوار المدينة، ويدفع الشباب إلى حروبه الطاحنة والمستمرة. ناشد أهالي أوروك الآلهة لإنقاذهم من هذه الملك الظالم، فاستجابوا الآلهة وخلقوا ندا ليكون خصما إلى جلجامش اسمه أنكيدو. عسى أن تنعم أوروك بالسلام.
Once upon a time there was a king called Gilgamesh. He was hated by all. He treated the people like dirt. He kissed the brides before their weddings, and he just treated them like absolute rubbish. So one day the people of Uruk decided to call out to the gods, and they said, "Please, let us find a match for Gilgamesh and stop this horror." So the mother goddess heard him and decided that she was going to make a match for him. So she took a lump of clay and some water and she rolled it into a ball and she threw it in the distance, and then this man started growing. He was so hairy. He had hair everywhere, hair and hair and hair and hair and hair. And so, but he was wild. He didn't know how to eat, how to drink, how to live, how to clean. He didn't know anything. And one day, a hunter decided to go hunting for deers. He walked into the forest and he saw this man. This man was drinking and eating with the deers. He was just walking around with the deers, being really strange and deery, I guess. And so he watched this man for 3 days and 3 nights. And on the 3rd day, this hunter decided to tell his father any advice on how to get rid of this strange wild man. His father said, "Get a beautiful woman to lure him away." And that's exactly what he did. And this woman was called Shamkat. And she took this man and named him Enkidu. She taught him how to drink, how to eat, how to clean, how to be human, and just be normal. One day, Enkidu was sitting on the doorstep of his house, and he was looking in the distance. And he saw this traveller holding a dish, but the traveller looked afraid. And Enkidu asked where this man was going, and he said, "I'm going to a wedding, and Gilgamesh will be there." And Enkidu knew who Gilgamesh was, and he said, "But why do you look afraid?" And the traveller said, "Because Enkidu kisses the brides, and he treats them like dirt, and I don't want that to happen." So the Enkidu knew this was wrong, so he decided to go along with the traveller. So he went, he got to the destination, and he looked over the door. He stood over the door, and he said, "No one's coming in here, not even Gilgamesh." So Gilgamesh came, and he said, "Get out of my way, you filthy man, get out, I want to see the bride." And Enkidu said, "No, you're not coming in here. I will fight you, I don't really care." So they fought, and they punched, and they slapped, and they kicked, and there was dirt and blood and rubble everywhere. And eventually, Gilgamesh won, and he looked into Enkidu's eyes and saw that he had a best friend, a brother, someone who he could have adventures for. And from then on, their adventures began.
Now with his new best friend, his equal, his brother, Gilgamesh thought of wonderful adventures. They went to Cedar Mountain. There they killed Humbaba. They killed the spirit set there by the gods at the dawn of time to protect the trees. And when the head of the Humbaba was off, they cut down the great cedars and they floated them down to Uruk.
As Gilgamesh and Enkidu came back from their adventure, they saw a river right next to the city of Uruk. They washed themselves. Gilgamesh put on his robe, a purple with silver linings, and put on his crown. They both opened the doors of Uruk, and they saw all the people dancing, singing, eating. They were all happy for Gilgamesh and Enkidu. Their names were with the gods. Gilgamesh and Enkidu, they celebrated with their people. Ishtar, the goddess, came up to Gilgamesh and said, Gilgamesh, your people respect you, they love you, and they think that you are a man, you are a hero. Gilgamesh thought, should I marry her or should I not? If I marry her, I can become the husband of a goddess. If I don't, then she could get angry with my people. Gilgamesh took the side where he says no. He told her, if I marry you, what will you give me? I pray for you, I sacrifice for you, but one thing I won't do is give you my heart. Gilgamesh went on about her three previous lovers, the shepherd, who she turned into a frog, the shepherd who she turned into a frog, and the last lover, we do not know where he is. Ishtar was angry, she was crying. She went up to her dad, Anu, and said, Dad, please give me the bill of heaven. I want to take my revenge on Gilgamesh. Anu thought, the bill of heaven will just destroy the earth. It will shrivel up the rivers. It will dry up everything, and all the people will die. Ishtar said, if you do not give me the bill of heaven, I will make the dead the living, and they will devour all humans. Anu thought, if I give her the bill of heaven, the world would be destroyed. But some people could survive. If I let her devour all the people, everyone would die. So he gave her the bill of heaven. She went down to the walls of Uruk and shouted, Gilgamesh, please give me your love. Gilgamesh said, no, I will not. So she unleashed the bill of heaven, and he stomped once, twice, and the last time, many people fell. One of those people was Enkidu. Enkidu tried to climb back up until he finally reached the surface. Once he reached the surface, he told Gilgamesh, we have to defeat the bill of heaven. So Enkidu went up behind the bill of heaven, stomped on his tail. Gilgamesh jumped on his back and stabbed him in his chest. Enkidu was really happy. He cut the hindquarters of the beast and threw it at Ishtar. Gilgamesh cut open the chest of the bill of heaven, took out his heart, and sacrificed it to the sun god Shamash. After that, everyone celebrated, they were happy, and they went to sleep.
In the night, Enkidu had a dream. In that dream, the gods stood in assembly. And they all said, for the death of the bull of heaven, for the death of Humbaba, for the insult to Ishtar, someone must suffer. These two have gone too far. Someone must die. Let not Gilgamesh die, he's the king. Let Enkidu die. Enkidu woke the next morning in a terrible sweat. The first day he was sick, the second day he was sicker, and on the third day he died. Gilgamesh was inconsolable. He would not give the body up for burial until a worm crawled out of his friend's nose, and then a great funeral and great statues to celebrate his friends.
After Enkidu's death, Gilgamesh left the city of Uruk. He had realized all humans die. All humans die. He set out on a journey to find Utnapishtim the far away. He was a man who lived forever, and he wanted to find him to discover how to live forever as well. On his journey, days after days, one night he came across two furious lions. They were hungry. He was scared and asked the moon Dingir for help. He awoke the next day and was glad to be alive. He had killed the lions, skinned them, ate their flesh, and dressed only in their skins. Days passed, and his journey continued. Before he came across the Mashu Mountains, mountains so big they blocked everything. The only way to get to the other side was through a tunnel. It was guarded by two scorpion people, a scorpion man and a scorpion woman. They asked what he wanted and who he was. He said he was Gilgamesh, the king of Uruk. They looked at him in disgust and said, "You're not Gilgamesh, you're filthy and you're dressed in lion skin." He told them about how Gilgamesh explained his story about how Enkidu died and how he wants to live forever. They let him through, however said that he had to get through the tunnel. He had to run through the tunnel for 12 hours in complete darkness before the sun would come around and go through that tunnel and burn him alive.
جلجامش كان تعيس جدا بسبب فقدانه لأعز صديق له انكيدو. جلجامش كان خائف لأنه لا يريد أن يموت، لذلك قرر أن يبحث عن أوتنابشتم، الإنسان الوحيد الذي يستطيع أن يساعده. جلجامش قرر أن يذهب إلى جبل الماشو بحثا عن الخلود. جلجامش رأى رجال العقرب، النصف العلوي إنسان والنصف الآخر على هيئة عقرب. جلجامش قال لرجال العقرب أن يدعوه أن يدخل. رجال العقرب استغربوا وقالوا: من أنت ولماذا ندخلك؟ جلجامش قال: أنا جلجامش ملك أوروك. رجال العقرب استغربوا وقالوا: أنت جلجامش ملك أوروك؟ لماذا أنت بهذه الهيئة؟ جلجامش قال: صديقي العزيز انكيدو لقد مات، وأنا لا أريد أن أموت مثله، لذلك قررت أن أبحث عن الخلود. رجال العقرب حزنوا عليه ودعوه أن يدخل. جلجامش فرح جدا وكان لديه أمل. سار جلجامش داخل نفق جبل الماشو، سار أيام والظلام يحيط به. استمر في السير والظلام يغلق المكان، ثم شعر بنسمة باردة لامست وجهه. استمر في السير إلى أن وصل إلى حديقة الآلهة، حيث ثمار الأشجار مليئة باللؤلؤ والزمرد والمرجان والكثير من الأحجار الكريمة. لكن جلجامش استمر في السير بحثا عن أوتنابشتم.
جلجامش مشى ومشى ومشى ورأى امرأة تنظف الطاولة. سدوري رأت الرجل كبيرا في الحجم، فركضت إلى بيتها وقفلت الباب. بعد ثواني: افتحي الباب، افتحي الباب. سدوري خافت، فتحت الباب وقالت: من أنت وماذا تريد؟ رد جلجامش وقال أنا جلجامش ملك أوروك. سدوري قالت أنت ملك أوروك، ترتدي هذه الثياب ورائحتك. جلجامش قال هل يمكنك أن تساعديني؟ ردت سدوري وقالت كيف يمكنني أن أساعدك؟ أنت ملك. سدوري قال أنا أبحث على الخلود، لقد رأيت صديقي أنكيدو يموت أمامي ولا أريد أن أصبح مثله. سدوري ردت له وقالت لقد الآلهة صنعت الخلود لنفسها والموت للإنسان، أنت إنسان، لماذا تريد الخلود؟ لديك كل هذا المال، اذهب وأكل واستمتع مع عائلتك. جلجامش قال لا يريد هذا الحياة، يريد الخلود، يريد يعيش للأبد. سدوري حزنت عليه وقالت اذهب إلى أورشنابي.
Gilgamesh walked and walked until he reached a beautiful garden where rubies and sapphires were grown instead of normal tree fruits. He saw a woman cleaning the table, and this woman was Siduri. Siduri saw this big henchman and quickly ran into her house, locked the doors and closed the windows, and hid for safety. Gilgamesh ran to the door and banged. "Open the door or I'll break it in." She said, "Why? Who are you?" He said, "I'm Gilgamesh, king of Uruk." She laughed. "You are king?" "No, you're not. You don't even smell like one." "Open the door, I command you to, and I need your help." So she opened the door and let him in. She listened to him as she told her his story of how he doesn't want to die like his good friend Enkidu. He wants to live forever. She gently laughed and told him, "There is no such thing as immortality for humans. Don't look for something that's not there. Go live your life. You are a king. You have money. Kid, take the hand who's the kid's beside you. Love the woman who stands beside you. And live your life. There's no such thing as immortality for humans." Gilgamesh shook his head and disagreed. He said, "Give me the location of Utnapishtim, who holds the secret to immortality." Eventually, Sinduri gave him the location and told him, "If you want to go see Utnapishtim, you have to go near the forest, where the boatman will give you the location for Utnapishtim."
Gilgamesh began to scream for help. "Urshnabin, Urshnabin," he repeated. Urshnabin came to him and said, "Why are you here?" Gilgamesh said, "I need to get across the poisonous lake." Urshnabin said, "Why? You have a good family and you have a good wife, and you're the king of the kingdom. Why do you need to get across the lake?" He said with a sigh, "My best friend Enkidu has passed away recently, and I fear that I might be next." Urshnabin started to feel sorry for him and said, "I know a way you can get across. First, you must cut down and skin 300 poles of wood." So without further notice, Gilgamesh began to do so. Next, he was told to push the boat with the poles into the water, letting go of each pole as it reached the surface of the water. Gilgamesh began to think as he used every last pole. The boat was only halfway through the water, and he had to get it across. He took off his lion-skin shirt and used it as a sail. "I am the mast," he repeated, and slowly they drifted back to shore.
As soon as Gilgamesh reached the shore, he saw a cottage and ran towards it. He knocked on the door, and a man came up. "Who are you?" asked the man. "I am Gilgamesh, the king of Uruk. I suppose you are Utnapishtim?" The man replies, "Yes. Why, yes, I am. What do you want?" Gilgamesh replies, "I am here looking for immortality, and I command you to tell me your secret." So Utnapishtim says, "Best come in then." As soon as they came in, Utnapishtim asks Gilgamesh, "Are you sure you want to know how I got immortality?" Gilgamesh says, "Of course I do. You have to tell me. Otherwise..." Utnapishtim interrupted him. "Okay, I'll tell you my story. So, one day, I was in my reed cottage when I heard a voice, a whispering voice, from the wall. It said, "Oh, reed wall, there's going to be a big flood. You'd better abandon this house now. Forget about your property. Forget about everything you have. Save your life. Build a boat and fill it with animals, birds, fish, and the seed of every living thing." The seed of every living thing. So I asked the voice, "What should I tell my people?" The voice replies, "Tell them that Aya and Enlil are now disagreeing. And because you particularly respect Aya, you have to leave Enlil's land before all your people suffer." So that's what I did. As soon as the boat was in the river, I climbed aboard with all the animals, my family, of course, the animals, the birds, the fish, and the seed of every living thing. So I stayed in the boat for the first night, which was rather calm. But as soon as the sun arose, I looked out of the boat and saw something terrifying in the horizon. It was a big dark cloud coming our way. I closed the hatch and stayed in the boat. It rained for 7 days and 7 nights non-stop. When the rain stopped, I looked out of the boat to see the saddest thing I've ever seen. I was surrounded by water, with floating dead bodies everywhere. I cried and cried and cried. But then, as soon as I looked back into the water, I saw that the boat was stuck on Mount Nimush. So I sent out 3 birds. The first 2 came back because, well, they didn't find anything anywhere to perch on. But the third one, the raven, found a tree to perch on and nibbled on its berry. So as soon as the water lowered, I came onto the dry land and burnt 14 jars of incense as a sacrifice to the gods. When the smell reached the gods, they immediately appeared around me in a semicircle. Because I saved all humanity and all life, I was granted the eternal life. So, Gilgamesh, I had to stay awake to listen to that voice. Can you?
Of course I can. I am a king. He sat down, and instantly Lady Utnapishtim was approaching him to wake him up. Utnapishtim said, "No, don't. For every day he sleeps, you make a loaf of bread." He smelled the smell of breakfast. I only shut my eyes just for a couple of seconds. He glanced at the room. He saw 7 breads. For the 7 days he slept. One freshly out of the oven. It smelled like heaven in the loaf. The second one, edible but fresh. The third one, it was very stale and very hard. The fourth one had little bits of fungi. The fifth one, it was all covered in white fungi. The sixth one, it was covered in green fungi. The seventh one, it was very soggy. It looked like it's been underwater for a year. So Gilgamesh said, "Well, why have you made 7 breads? One very, very moldy and inedible, and one fresh out of the oven." Lady Utnapishtim said, "I made 7 loaves of bread for every day you slept." Gilgamesh said, "Well, I only shut my eyes for 7 seconds. How quick can you make loaves of bread?" Utnapishtim said, "You have slept for 7 days, 7 nights, and you haven't woke up. So, you cannot be a god if you can't do this little thing." Gilgamesh knew his fate. He was approaching the door, and he glanced back, seeing Lady Utnapishtim and Utnapishtim whispering. Before he can open the door, Lady Utnapishtim shouted, "There's only one thing you can do. There's a plant of youth that makes you be young again. It's buried deep under the water. So if you get it, plant it and give it to all your people and eat it yourself, you would shed your old skin and you would be young again." Gilgamesh jumped up and said, "Yay, yay, yay!" He straight away went to the boat and told Urusnabi, "Go, go, go! We need to get my plant!" He hopped onto the boat. He was the master of the sail. In a flash, they went to the shore. Gilgamesh tied some string to his foot, tied it to some rocks so he would sink down to the bottom. He took his knife with him so he can rip out the plant. He finally saw a glowing plant. He took it, he grabbed it, he cut it. He cut the string and went up to shore. He thought he was all dirty, so he took off his clothes, folded it up and put the plant on top. And then Gilgamesh dived in and had a swim, just like a little bath. And a little snake came and ate the plant, shedded its old skin, and was a young snake again. It slithered away. And Gilgamesh, he went out, he dried himself, and he saw this little tail of a snake go through the bush, and he saw there was no plant at all. "Where's my plant? Where's my plant?" he kept on thinking. He saw what happened. There was the old skin of the snake. He decided his fate, put his head in his hands and said, "Why did I think I could be immortal? Why did I think I can do whatever humans can't do?"
بعدين حصل جلجامش عشبة الخلود. قرر أن يذهب إلى مدينة أوروك. في الطريق رأى جلجامش بركة ماء فنزل إليها تاركا النبتة عند الضفة. جاءت حية وأكلتها. فبينما هي راجعة إلى بيتها نزعت على جد قديم وحصلت جد جديد. خرج جلجامش من بركة الماء ولبس ملابسه ولم يجد النبتة. بحث في كل مكان ولم يجد النبتة. جلس جلجامش عند الضفة وقد انهار تماما. فقد الأمل في الخلود. جلجامش قرر أن يعود إلى مدينة أوروك.
Behold the tablet box of copper. Release the clasps of bronze. Replace the tablets of lapis lazuli. You've heard the tale of Gilgamesh, all that he endured. Zipang Young Mesopotamian Storytellers.